Designers, why do I keep asking you to keep your sketches, your ideas, your plans, and everything else in your design notebook? There's a lot of reasons, actually. A big one, as you get older, will be that you can use those to build your design portfolio, which is going to get you into the college program or the university program you want to get into. And then it's going to get you into the jobs that you want to get into. Portfolios become a required part of the process once you move past middle school. When you get into high school, you're going to need to build a portfolio if you envision doing this in the future. So practicing that now is a good idea. But what about now? Why would I ask you right now? Let me give you some examples from my sketchbook. One thing that might happen is that you might look at a sketch you did early on. Nope, that's upside down too. There we go. And look back and say, wow, that was one of my early works. I'm getting better. Look how much better I can do now than when I was doing this. Another thing you might do is you might be flipping through and say, oh yeah, I remember that idea. This is for a weight shelf. I do workouts at home, and I have a room that has all my equipment in it. I was thinking about building a wall with a bench in it that would hold all my equipment. And I sketched it out, and then I forgot about that idea. And as I was flipping through my notebook, I said, oh yeah, that was a great idea. I should continue working on that. It can also give you references if you're working on a project and you need to go back and say, how big was that again? What were the measurements of that? If they're in your notebook, you can just flip through and say, okay, here it is. They were exactly this big. I've got all the notations here for how much I should cut, how many pieces, all of those sorts of things. Maybe the original measurement that you did, if you were measuring the parts to see how big the pieces you needed to fit in were, or how many of them, or something like that. If that's in your notebook, you can look it up easily. It's right here in your hands. There's lots of really good reasons to keep your information in your notebook. It's not any good if you put it on scraps of paper. I can't tell you how many students I've had in my classes that have lost those scraps of paper. No matter how good you think you're going to be about keeping it, it usually doesn't work out well. Sometimes it does for a while. It rarely works out for anybody regularly in the long run. So for all these reasons, and it's an interesting story. When you go to share the story of how you designed this thing, if you have all your drafts in your notebook, you can show your thinking process. And that's actually really interesting to people who are listening to, how did this thing that's really cool that you've made, how did that come about? And when you can show, I originally thought this, and then I was trying this and my thinking changed, and I sketched this and it led me down this idea path, all of that becomes a story that you can tell. And if you don't have it in your design notebook, it disappears. It becomes just a product at the end that people say, oh, wow, that's really cool. With the story, it becomes a much bigger thing. And that's really valuable. So really, I want you to document your work, whether that's video production or coding or graphic design or woodshop or CAD/CAM, whatever you're doing, write down what you do. Or if it's something that writing is not something that you really like or enjoy or want to do at all, if it's like anathema to you, record it some other way. Start a vlog, start a blog, start some method of recording your process, because that process is gold. It is valuable to you as a designer. Track it, keep it, save it.